You're watching Pulse for the 26th of August, and it's time to have a look at this past week's StarCraft news. In this week's episode, we take a look at StarCraft II Wings of Liberty Patch 1.4, yes, it's coming soon, some GSL, MLG and Dreamhack updates, a bit of Pro-Gamer Symbology and more. Let's get to it. So as some of you have probably already heard, StarCraft II Wings of Liberty Patch 1.4 is currently in development. This patch, according to Blizzard, contains some balance changes, as well as a number of bug fixes, interface changes, and StarCraft II editor improvements. So let's have a look at those patch notes, and I'll just tell you what I think about the lot of them. First up, in the general changes, a new career page displaying placement in past seasons has been added to the Leagues and Ladders section of the profile, so we'll pretty much be able to see how well we did in the previous seasons, or I suppose how well other players did as well. It's quite cool, but that is the only interesting change in the general section. Next up, game options. There are now privacy settings in the options menu under the BattleNet section. Only allow friends to send me invites, only allow friends to send me chat messages, and set status to busy when playing a game. I gotta say that last one's gonna be very useful, especially for those guys that take their games very seriously. Then they added a FPS toggle hotkey to the hotkey dialog, and they added a display game tooltips setting in the options menu under gameplay that can be turned off to prevent tooltips from appearing when playing a game. I, for one, do need those tooltips. Then in the UI and display changes, there were only one or two interesting ones. A launch PTR button has been added to the login screen, and one for us casters out there. Player names in the name panel in observer or replay mode will now be based off the player's locations on the minimap. So if they spawn on the left hand side of the map, their name should be on the left hand side. Then, when a building is cancelled or salvaged, the minerals returned will be displayed at the building location for the owner. For the enemy players, a floating text will be displayed. So there were a couple of sound changes as well, but I think you all just want to know about the balance changes. Firstly, general balance changes. Unit vision up ramps has been reduced by 1. I guess that's a pretty big change for all the races. Then in Protoss, immortal attack range has been increased from 5 to 6. The mothership acceleration has been increased from 0.3 to 1.375. That's a huge amount, by the way. The mothership's cloaking field no longer cloaks all units instantaneously, but rather adds units to the cloak field over time. Maximum of 25 per second. This should apparently alleviate the mothership lag issue when a mothership comes online. So next time it might well actually be Halo causing the lag. Blink research time for Stalkers has been increased from 110 to 140. Warp Prism shields have been more than doubled from 40 to 100. Then for Terran, Barracks build time has been increased from 60 to 65. Which is actually a pretty big deal. The Hellions Infernal Pre-Ignited damage upgrade has been decreased from 10 to 5. That is no doubt the biggest change in these patch notes, but I guess Blizzard did see that right now, especially over in Korea, Hellions are slightly overpowering. What do you guys think? Do you think Blizzard will stick with their guns on this one? We have seen them making changes and then reverting them soon afterwards, and we have also obviously been told that these notes are not final yet. Do you think we'll see this damage decrease go live? I'm not entirely sure. Next up, Raven's Seeker missile movement speed has been increased from 2.5 to 2.953. That's a very precise amount. In the Zerg changes, Infestor's fungal growth damage has been changed from 36 plus 30% to armored to 30 and plus 40% to armored. I gotta say, all in all, that's a pretty okay change. As a Zerg player myself, I don't even really think that's gonna matter too much. Fungal growth always was, and will no doubt carry on being one of my favorite skills. Next up, Overseer's morph cost has been decreased from 50 minerals and 100 gas to 50 minerals and 50 gas. And along with that, Contaminate energy cost has been increased from 75 to 125. I personally like these changes. Zerg can get detection out a little bit sooner now with a little bit less damage done to their wallets, their gas wallets. And then they'd have to just keep them out a little bit longer, keep them alive a little bit longer to be able to use that Contaminate. And last up in the Zerg changes, the Ultralisk build time has been decreased from 70 to 55. That's absolutely huge, and they build incredibly quickly now. Then we had the usual bug fixes, improvements, or tweaks, whatever you want to call them, and you can check the full list of them out below. I urge you all to have a look at it, especially if you're actually playing this competitively or not. It does make a difference and it helps to know what's coming. That said, it's been a while since the last balance patch. What do you guys think about these changes? Do you think Blizzard are on the right track? Let me know below. As an extra to all this patch talk, it seems there are hints of a European PTR coming soon. You can read more about that below too. And with that done, let's check out the GSL updates. As of recording this, the GSTL Week 9 games haven't been completed yet, so I'm not going to be covering them this week. But in the Code S, things are moving along quite steadily. We're in the round of 8 now, where Pult will face off against Keen, Top will face off against Genius, MVP will face off against Huck, that's sure to be a good one, and Ryung is set to face off against July. So that means in the top 8 we've got 5 Terran, 2 Protoss and 1 Zerg. I wonder if that's going to change when the Hellions get nerfed. In the GSL Code A semi-finals, Gunzi took down Taja with a score of 3-0, and Marine King took down Lenok with a score of 3-1. So that means Marine King is in yet another final. He's facing off against his Terran brother Gunzi. I sure hope he takes this one. The next MLG event is here, and by the time this video goes live, MLG Raleigh should be well underway. There are quite a few big names taking part this weekend and some great casters to keep us entertained. The previous MLG stream was second to none and it was absolutely amazing to watch. I'm definitely going to try catch some of it over this weekend. If you were wondering, in Pool A we've got Naniwa, Huck, In Control, Rain and Koka. Pool B has Idra, Show, Heypro, Machine, Bomber. Pool C has Slush, Select, TLO, Dongregu, Trickster, and lastly Pool D has Kiwikaki, Ret, Sheth, Moonan and Nada. All those players, coupled with the no doubt amazing ones coming up from the Open tournament, it's set to be quite an epic event indeed. To make things a little bit easier for all of us out there trying to follow absolutely all the action, a very resourceful guy over at the Team Liquid forums called Mob set up a post with the red and blue stream schedules. And what makes this even better is that the schedule is in your own time. Just make sure your Team Liquid profile is set to whatever time zone you're in at the moment, and voila, it will work perfectly. It'll give you the exact times that each of the games are starting at on both the streams. Check it out and be sure to use it. The guys over at ESFI World have 11 StarCraft II pool play facts for MLG Raleigh, and lastly, what's an MLG event without some drama? So apparently Hurricane Irene, which is a level 3 hurricane, is moving north from the Pacific Islands towards the east coast of America. It's supposed to graze along the east coast of North Carolina before heading up towards New England and turning into a level 4 hurricane in the process at some point. That's pretty crazy, and the worst part is that apparently Ohio and the guys at MLG will definitely be feeling this. There's no confirmation yet as to how bad it will be, but I'm pretty sure we're gonna know about it, and we'll hear a lot more about it over the weekend. So you can read more about it below and see all these images there too. So in one quick DreamHack update, the guys and girls from over at DreamHack just published their hype video for DreamHack Valencia that'll be held on the 17th of September. This video is absolutely amazingly well made, and I think the other big tournament organizers need to start taking notes. I'm quite happy to see that people are realizing that hyping up your event is actually a really good thing. Getting people excited is great and it definitely works. It will help, and people will also definitely be linking this video around. I just wish they made it a bit longer because I personally can't get enough of it. Yes, that was a Banshee, those were battle cruisers, that was a Viking, Zerglings, Marines, siege tanks, all of it. Madness. Check it out right here on YouTube and enjoy. In the last of our tournament and event news, we have Polarfluke's next tournament, Polarfluke Spring Ling. Fluke has managed to put together 8,000 Rand prize pool for this month once again, and if you're wondering, that's $1,120 exactly. That's a lot. The winner is going to be walking away with $413, second place $265, third place $162, fourth place $103, and fifth to eighth $59 each. It's open to all players on the European Battle.net server, so if you want something to do on the weekend of the 3rd of September, don't hesitate to register. It's going to be a lot of fun. There's going to be a live stream up for the entire weekend. It's starting off with Swiss rounds and then moving into single elimination brackets. And before anyone asks, it's called Springling because spring is in fact starting in South Africa on September the 1st. So head on over to polarfluke.co.za right now, sign up and be there. Now let's check out the tournament and event smalls. Over at the official site you can read about NASL Season 2 that's coming soon. The NASL has sent out even more invites for its second season. You can read about the Taiwanese Battle.net Invitational and the Southeast Asian Battle.net Invitational. Then the LG-sponsored Chinese StarCraft II Tour happening on OGN, and some Gamescom results. Puma managed to win that with MC in 2nd place. Idra and Infi have been invited to DreamHack Valencia. Both Hero and Sheth managed to dominate the first IPL 3 qualifier. You can read about the GCPL, where Team Liquid are apparently taking an early lead. 2v2 has been removed from the CSL. You can read about FX Open's Korean King of the Hill number 6. Then ESWC's 2011 prize money distribution and applications. The multiplayer UK I-43 LAN tournament is happening this very weekend, so it's probably worth checking that out too. And in some local news, Seam has taken the 3rd leg of the StarCraft II Do Gaming League, and if you're a South African citizen, you can sign up for the 2011 MSSA Online Championship. That's actually being hosted by Polarfluke this time around. Then in the only really big community news this week, and I'm not really even sure you can call it big, we have some Pro-Gamer Symbology. Now this was incredibly interesting to me. Not really because of the symbols or pictures that were used, some of them do make sense, but more so just because of the way that the poster actually handled this. He made a post titled Pro-Gamer Symbology on Team Liquid, and wait, his name is Mr. X. Then he just threw this picture in there and left it. He just left people scratching their heads, he left people wondering about it, pondering about it, leaving all sorts of messages, trying to decode these images, trying to figure out what exactly they meant, and he hasn't said anything since. I think it's absolutely brilliant. This is the way to get the community talking. Now I urge you all to have a look at these images, see if any of them make sense to you, and if you've got a bit of time, check the Team Liquid thread out too. There are some very interesting responses there, and some of these people have some very interesting theories about what these images mean, and what the original poster was trying to do with them. It's well worth checking out, and I had a good laugh at some of the replies. So check it out, enjoy, and be sure to leave a comment telling Mr. X that he is in fact a genius. Then in one or two quick mentions, Team Slayers are now on Facebook. They do in fact have a Facebook group up that you can like, and you can use it to stay up to date with everything Slayers. Then in the last mention before we head into the smalls, there's an interesting wallpaper up covering pretty much all the Protoss build orders you'd need to know. What races you can use them against, when you need to build everything, and pretty much everything else that comes along with that. Check it out, it looks incredibly useful. First up in the community smalls, there's a recap of Blizzard Entertainment at Gamescom 2011, and you can check out some art gallery updates along with that. Then sports bars are changing channels for video games. That's a very interesting article right there. You can check out the top 10 StarCraft II Pro moments. We Made Fox's Moon is now up for hire, and yes, that said, We Made Fox is no more. Complexity Gaming and Team MVP have expanded their partnership, Team Rain and Razer have joined forces, Fnatic MSI StarCraft have said goodbye to Phoenix. You can check out a very interesting set of videos featuring EG, Puma, Idra, and In Control, and some bench pressing too. You can win a table tennis bat signed by MC. There's a Mad Frog profile up over at Gosu Gamers. Tossgirl is apparently playing StarCraft II now. Shio is following Naniwa to South Korea and Kode, and then there's an interview up with Shio where he talks about Kode. There are interviews up with both Noblesse and Dongregu on preparing for MLG Raleigh. TLO is apparently set to be back on form soon and set to train 8 hours a day. There's an interview up with GOM TV's Mr. Chai where he says that partnering with the West is his biggest accomplishment. There's an interview with Sok, an interview with ARG on MLG Raleigh. Liquid Tyler has started vlogging. Carmack has interviewed Huck. There's an Autosis interview up from eStars 2011 by Rakaka SE. Then a very interesting video, a NASA-inspired map series titled Lunar Harvest. And yes, that's the real deal. Then a very interesting and informative post that I spotted over on the Team Liquid forums titled, What Skill Does Laddering Take Nowadays? You can check out a preview of the GG movie featuring LZ Gamer and Anna Prozer. There are 2 songs up, Day 9 Made Me Do It, the rap and metal remix, and Drops from Medivacs, a train parody from the guys over at AKA. Secrets to playing faster, improving awareness and better macro from Trebus, and lastly, a StarCraft wallpaper collection that's also well worth having a look at. So sadly, that's all I have for you in the StarCraft news for this week. Remember to check the links below, like the video, favorite it, share it with your friends, and subscribe. Most importantly though, happy StarCrafting.